this random live session that I do every week in the beginning of the week. So today I want to talk to you about a perfume that we carry. And I was thinking about this a lot in terms of how many of us have this one emotion or one feeling that keeps like dragging us, that keeps us like governing our lives in one particular period of time. And I'm calling that to this odor or the perfume that we carry, as if like we keep having the same diet and we keep producing the same type of energy or same type of smell, depending on how you want to use that analogy, right? So the way that it feels like is like one thing that keep defining our aura, that keep defining our energy around it in one particular period of our time, or maybe for most of our lives. And I would love for you to detect that for yourself and decide what to do with that. Because the way that I have been seeing a lot lately is, so one of the defining energy or defining uh, feeling or defining theme, for one particular person could be a resistance. Another one is tiredness. Another one is indecision, right? Of not knowing. Another one is fear. And these are like the themes that keep going on in our lives, like that keep governing all the things that we do, or all the conversations that we have, or all the decisions that we make. Those are the ones that keep governing us. And the way that I have been even observing in my own life is the one that keep governing my life is not committing to everything specific that I really want to do in one whole project, and doing that project like most of it, but not fully all of it. This is how I have noticed that has been governing my life lately. So I talked a lot about narratives and how we keep having this narrative, and depending on what the narrative is, how we're living our lives, right? But here, what I really want to focus and get your attention to is one specific thought or powerful thought that keep creating that perfume, that keep creating that odor, or that keep creating that smell, and then it's like influencing everything else around our lives. So I will give you one example that I think we don't really think about much is we don't really think about how one particular theme could be governing our results, governing the way we live our lives. We don't really think that's possible. We don't really think that it's happening. But when it comes to certain topics like worry, for instance, like fear, we know that that's all we can think about, right? So, for instance, when it comes to worry, if we have a one like thought about in our head, like for instance, we're worried about our child being in a particular situation, or we're worried about our boss perceiving us in a particular way, we know that everything else becomes like secondary, and that worry becomes like the powerful thing that keeps happening in our minds and keep governing, creating the feelings around it. Or maybe another one is overwhelm, right? So for some people, overwhelm is a big theme, and therefore everything else becomes like a secondary thing. And then we are driven most of the time by that overwhelm. And that overwhelm is created by one particular thought of, I can't do all the things, or I have a lot of things to do, or I don't have time for this, or I shouldn't be having time for this because I'm so busy. So whatever that theme, then that theme keep influencing all of our other parts of our lives. And therefore, for instance, one of my clients is now um, having difficulty building the relationship with her boyfriend because she keeps feeling like overwhelmed, that she doesn't have time, and everything else becomes around time, and like the relationship becomes overwhelming, work becomes overwhelming, or any other relationship become overwhelming because of that theme. Do you see what I'm saying? That we don't often notice the power of that one thing, one thought, one powerful thought that keep creating our reality, that keep creating our odor or smell or perfume, whichever the way you want to call it, or energy around it, that keep creating our lives or influencing our lives, but we don't really pay attention to that. um, Even though if we really decided what to do with that one thing, then everything else could fall into parts. But we're blocking ourselves a lot of the time because of one thing. So for another client of mine, it is I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to do, and this keep blocking everything else, and then being in like living the life that we don't really want to. So if we understand the power of that one thing that keep driving us, that keep influencing us in our daily lives, right, then it becomes so important that we understand what that one thing is. And I have been so like curious lately of understanding my actions, understanding my results of what I keep creating, and then exploring back to where it all is all coming from. And it all is was, at least in my case, it was all coming from this thought of it's okay if I don't really honor what I really wanted to do, excuse me, or it's okay if I don't honor all of the things of what I want to achieve, or what I how I want to live my life. And that it's okay was governing all of my actions, and how I wasn't really committed to creating the results that I wanted in all of the areas. So one of the examples I can give you is the Italian language test, right? So I have done a lot of preparation, but I kept thinking to myself, it's okay if I don't pass, or it's okay if I don't pass at all. And voila, I didn't pass at all. I only passed the oral bits, but the written bits I didn't pass. Right. So you can see that I wasn't fully committed to creating the results I wanted because of that thought of it's okay if I don't do it. And the same goes, I see that for other results that I'm creating, and the same I can see with my clients, that there is always this one thing, one thought that keep governing our actions, that keep governing our feelings, and therefore governing also our results that we are creating, or the results that we're living now. Now, when we see that through the lens of worry, through the lens of fear, how one thought can be that powerful in how we feel and what we're doing, what we're not doing, then it also is important for us to understand what is another powerful thought that can help us get to the result that we want, that can help us get out of the indecision, that can help us get out of the resistance, that can help us get out of that tired feeling all of the time. So if we are able to create all of this tiredness, resistance, indecision with one thought, then we also logically understand that there must be another thought that get us out of there, right? That get us out of ruminating, out of indecision, out of not knowing, out of all of this. We know there must be one. And it's important that we also understand that there is another thought that can get us to where we want to go, or how we want to live our lives. And once start like appreciating the power of thoughts in in that way of really understanding which one thing that keeps us in where we are, maybe we don't want to be, and which one thing can get ourselves out of there, what is one thing that can shift us in the way that get to where we want to go. and and therefore this random life is really about like detecting, understanding that odor or that perfume, that smell that you keep carrying, that feeling that you keep having. And if you understand, or if you notice what that is, and then deciding what to do and to change it, right? So another one that I think I forgot to mention is the entitlement that I see many of our humanitarians that I've been speaking to have and keep suffering under that um, entitlement. And the way they keep suffering is they keep saying, oh, the organization should do this to me now that I have done 20 years of work for this organization, or the organization has to promote me now that I have this many years or this type of work. And we just get into this entitlement of, I am entitled to getting this, and then not getting it and keep being disappointed about it, and then not wanting to do anything any further, even though maybe that was not really the original reason why we started working for the organization, why we started doing things. And entitlement is another thought or another feeling that kills all the passion, all the commitment that we want to have, right? So that's why noticing that we are having this order of entitlement and what do we want to do about it, it might be a very like life changing, experience changing thing that we can focus on. Now that we know, for instance, let's say that we know through our actions, through our feelings of what is the odor, what is the perfume that we're carrying, we get aware of it, right? So, what is the one thing that I keep telling myself is wrong or is missing or is not good enough? Whatever it is, that one thing that keep governing all the other things that I do in life or how I'm living my life, then how do we want to change it? So once you notice what that sentence or what that thought is, what that feeling is. So in my case, the feeling that I keep having is not fully committed, right? So because I'm not fully committed to all the things that I want to achieve within that project, for instance, let's say Italian language, or all the things that I want to achieve within the another project that I have all the elements of that project. Or for you, maybe that is a career or work choice, or for you, maybe it's a fulfillment that you want to have. Fulfillment in all aspects of your life, right? So not only in the work life, but also in the relationship or um, in hobbies that you do, whatever it is, right? So having that holistic approach of, okay, I want to have this order instead, whatever it is, being clear on what that is, but also um, understanding how much powerful that one thing is, one thought is, and then once you know one thought is governing you, then you can also decide, I want another thought, another feeling that governs now how I want to live my life and how I want to show up for my life. So if we know and notice there is one thing that is like so powerful that keep influencing everything else, we also then can have another powerful thought that then override this, or that then shift us from being the person who's not decided, or being the person who's always tired, or being the person who feels entitled the whole time, to being the person who knows how to get over the indecision, knows how to get over that tiredness, or knows how to remove that entitlement, so that we can actually get curious, we can actually get our passions running, we can actually get our fulfillment running for what we really want to go. And for that, we need to have another powerful thought that keeps then shifting us from where we are to where we want to be, right? So, for instance, in my case, the powerful thought that I love, that I keep practicing for myself is, I want to be the person who is very honoring her desires and honoring the desires of my clients, so that I can actually achieve things or create things the way I want to in all aspects of that thing that I'm working on, and not only like focusing on one thing or the other thing, right? The same goes for someone who could be saying, like, okay, I want to be the person who is no longer busy with entitlement, but rather, okay, this is the goal that I'm pursuing, this is what I'm wanting, and how do I get to it? Exploring all of the options instead of just keep waiting for, oh, the organization should do this to me or should provide this for me, right? uh, the person who wants to remove the tiredness, for instance, how do I want to be the person who is no longer using tiredness as an excuse or as a way to buffer, or the way just indulge in not living my life, but rather um, being the person who knows what she's doing and why she's doing it, why she is there where she is, and then creating the things she wants to, right? So there could be like whatever the powerful thought that you can think of, and keep shifting yourself to that powerful thought that actually creates the results you want, instead of being in this under the influence of the powerful thought that you have now, which might be creating the odor that you don't want, right? So that's why I have been like thinking that if I go next to a meeting and I meet someone and the person meets me, what kind of odor or what kind of smell or what kind of perfume I want to be wearing, that is maybe in my case, the way I'm thinking about is the perfume or the smell I want to diffuse or show to the other person is of being very committed to what I want and how I want to live my life, being purposeful, being intentional, um, and creating the things that I want to, and knowing how to do it, and being very curious doing it, instead of diffusing the order of, oh, I don't know, let's just see, or I'm just not sure, or I'm so tired, or I just keep being mad at the organization, excuse me, for not providing this and this. I don't want that odor to be in me, or I don't want that smell or the perfume to be in me, but I rather want to be in the perfume, in the energy of I like loving my life, even if it has all these challenges, but I'm loving my life. This is part of the journey. This is how I'm exploring. This is how I'm going for it. This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm fulfilling myself with the job, with the things that I'm doing. And this is how I'm building my relationship and feeling that thriving, that um, fulfilling, that curious, that live energy that I want to carry my perfume in, or I want to be in that perfume. And that's why all of that can be done with that powerful one thought that can shift us out of where we are to being where we want to be, and feeling that um, thought more, feeling that, being that person more, and practicing being in that personality, in that um, energy. So, my dears, I invite you to come to the coach with me to get your order, your perfume, the one that you really want to wear. Get yourself into that perfume and getting yourself out of the perfume that you don't want to be in. So, have an amazing week, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye.